US President Donald Trump has declared that November 27 is an appropriate deadline for Ukraine to accept a new US-backed peace plan. He says President Volodymyr Zelensky will have to approve this proposal, adding that he will have to like it if any progress is to be made towards ending the war. According to reports, the United States' 28-point draft plan calls on Ukraine to cede territory, accept limits on its military, and renounce ambitions to join the NATO. It also contains some provisions that Russia might oppose, such as requiring Russian forces to withdraw from some captured areas. Reports suggest Trump also threatened to cut vital intelligence sharing and weapons supplies for Ukraine if it fails to agree to the agreement. According to reports, if Europe tries to replace the US's intelligence contribution in Ukraine, it will require a stark increase in funding from the UK and EU member states. It will also require focus on coordination and overcoming some European legal restrictions on sharing intelligence.
Have to like it, and if he doesn't like it, then they should just keep fighting, I guess. Yeah, we have a way of getting peace, or we think we have a way of getting peace. He's going to have to approve it.
For the second time, Trump publicly reminded Zelensky of his limited bargaining power, stating that he doesn't have the cards to dictate terms on the war.
Well, at some point he's going to have to accept something. He hasn't accepted. You remember right in the Oval Office not so long ago, I said, you don't have the cards. Don't forget, I inherited this war. This war never would have happened. I inherited this war.
After speaking to U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance on a phone call that lasted for nearly an hour, Ukrainian President Zelensky in a social media post said that Ukraine will work on a peace plan with U.S. and Europe at the advisor level, adding that he respects Trump's efforts to end the war. However, in a video address, he warned of a tough decision that needs to be made over the plan.
Right now is one of the most difficult moments in our history. The pressure on Ukraine is one of the hardest. Ukraine may face a very difficult choice, either the loss of dignity or the risk of losing a key partner, either the complex 28 points or an extremely harsh winter, the harshest, with further risks.
Russian President Vladimir Putin said the U.S. plan could form the basis of a settlement, but added that Kyiv is still under illusions.
I believe it can lay the foundation for a final peaceful settlement. Apparently, Ukraine and its European allies are still under illusions and dream of inflicting a strategic defeat on Russia on the battlefield. If Kyiv does not want to discuss President Trump's proposals and refuses to do so, then both they and the European warmongers must understand that the events that took place in Kupiansk will inevitably be repeated in other key areas of the front line.
Putin's comments came as Russian troops claim fresh gains. Drone footage from newly claimed Kupiansk in Kharkiv shows explosions and uniformed soldiers holding Russian flags. As a US peace proposal sparks alarm in Europe, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer stressed that any solution must honor Ukraine's fundamental right to determine its future, while German Chancellor held a phone call with Trump to discuss the American peace proposals. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres affirmed that any peace deal must specifically uphold Ukraine's territorial integrity.
Now, we all want a just and lasting peace. That's what the President of America wants. That's what we all want. And so we need to work from where we are to that end. But the principle that Ukraine must determine its future under its sovereignty is a fundamental principle.
Ursula von der Leyen announced that EU leaders will convene this Saturday to discuss Ukraine with follow-up talks at the G20 and an EU-African Union summit.
W wyniku zdanych strat notarci składnie.